And we should be live. It's the voice of the blockchain here, Satoshi's big cousin, cryptography's finest. Today we have a special guest. It's Aggroed, Steam witness, creator of Steam Monsters, also associated with Steam Keychain and Minnow Support. Welcome, Aggroed.
Hey, it's great to be here. I had two screens up. Hey, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah, there's a bunch of different projects that I've worked on over the past couple of years here on Steam, and a lot of them are coming to fruition. So these are exciting times.
Excellent. And I was just talking, we were actually doing a whole live stream and talking about these projects, and I'm glad that we got to have you on today. I was assuming we were going to go ahead and push this live stream to later on this week, but it's a good thing that you're on now. We were just talking about Steam Engine, Palnet, Splinter Talk. I was looking into Nitrous, and I'm basically learning about these things almost in real time. I had expressed to our followers, our cryptomaniac community, my kind of distaste with this possible KYC that voice.com is going to implement on their social media network. And I'm seeing that there's still people developing on Steam, such as yourself, and these developments that are coming to fruition. And I still think that there's value here. And, I'm pointing people that direction back here to Steam because, let's go ahead and talk about what's coming out and what you're working on. We know you've done Steam Monsters, Steam Keychain, Minnow Support, but let's talk about Steam Engine, a way of creating tokens on Steam blockchain, right?
Yeah, so the project started with a guy by the name of Harpagon. Harpagon built a smart contract platform, and he built it on top of Steam. So we use Steam like a giant database, which is storing all these kind of custom commands. And then the node interprets them to do things like issue tokens, move tokens, and that's the beginning of this thing. So it's starting with basic like ERC20 functionality, where you make and transfer tokens. But in the not too distant future, we'll start doing things like NFTs and other smart contracts as well.
And so how new is this? Because it seems like I just learned about this maybe yesterday.
I don't even know how old it is. It's somewhere between, I don't even want to guess. It's this year. So it's within the last 6 months, but I can't even remember because we've just been moving at kind of a crazy pace. I think it's like 2 months, but I don't know how to, I don't know. While I'm on the air, I can't go back and verify that.
And this seems like the alternative to smart media tokens. And I know that's something that we were all waiting for a while. On smart media tokens were supposed to be created by Steemit Inc. But how does this compare to smart media tokens, or is it basically what they wanted to do?
It's a companion product. I mean, there's both benefits and negatives to being a SMT versus what we call a SCOT. So SCOT is a smart contract organizational token, and it lives on that smart contract platform. And if we want to do a hard fork and we want to change things, we don't have to fork the entire blockchain. We just fork, we work with the developers of the Steam smart contract platform, and we can go actually like fork that node and fork that system. So if we want to add delegation or we want to go add other crazy features, we can do that without messing with the whole blockchain. So there's benefits to this, which include like just how rapidly we can make changes to this thing and bring out new products. I mean, the whole thing is it's distributed, and the witnesses that are on the Steam blockchain are the block producers, if you know that term, or the super representatives, if you're from Tron. Like, we're still verifying all the data that goes into this thing. So it is all the data is on a distributed ledger, which is really like the heart and soul of what we care about in blockchain, is just making sure that like what we believe is happening is actually happening. And that's here, and that's part of this. But the downside is that like, it doesn't live at that core foundational level of the blockchain. So like you would have to run a separate node to go see these tokens. You can't just simply like query the Steam blockchain to see them. You would actually need like this second layer tool. So there's pluses and minuses to this, but I think I guess ultimately I think of these as companion products. At some point, Steemit will actually release the SMTs, and we'll offer them. Like I don't know if they're planning on a UI for even making them. So you might have to come to Steam Engine as one of the first places that you would think of to go to create your SMT, even though the functionality exists on the blockchain level. You need a user interface for it, and we're the guys that can go produce that. So the pluses and minuses, and we'll probably end up supporting both of these. There's really no reason not to.
Yeah, I'm also excited about Steam Engine because I'm noticing here that it has what seems like a decentralized exchange where you can exchange these tokens right here on the website. Is that correct?
Yeah. So one of the things that I like about this is that like you want your token to have immediate utility, and the ideal is that the immediate utility is that like there's ways. Normally, when you talk economics, we have to go talk about faucets and sinks. How do you release a token into the world, and how do we absorb it back in? And the thing that I would say 10% of the value comes from the faucet and 90% of the value comes from the sinks. And sometimes you might not get a true sink, like just having utility of a token is pretty useful too. But those are kind of your three things that you can do with a token. You can distribute it, you can use it, and you can sync it into something. And what Steam Engine does is it makes it super easy for you to create tokens. We created a tool that lets you distribute them. And there's three different ways that we can distribute them right now. You can distribute them with like Steam style votes, which we call proof of brain. I don't know if this is true or not, but I think I invented delegated proof of stake mining. So token A mines token B. So we've sold some tokens, and then they will mine other tokens. So rather than like running an ASIC in your basement, you just purchase a token and stake it, and then you can start mining a different coin. And then the third way that we can do distribution is through what's called staking. So staking is used in a lot of different ways, so it's not the best term, but if you have stake, you can earn more stake simply by having it. And so those are the three kind of distribution methods that we've worked out. An immediate use case, if you create them, is that, yeah, you're right, there's a DEX, and you can trade these things on a DEX. You don't have to do anything funky. You don't have to beg the exchange with your life to go, please, please, please put my token up here. It just automatically appears on steamengine.com or steam-engine.com. And then the last thing is really up to all the token creators. They have to figure out a good sync. So like with the Steam Engine token, which is just called ENG, you can create new tokens. You can get listed on other exchanges. You can get distribution. Those are all either utilities or sinks, depending on how we set it. But those are the things that people with tokens should care about: faucets, utilities, and sinks. And we can take care of the faucet. We can give you immediate utility, but it's really up to token creators to think through what their sinks will be.
And in the case of Steam Engine, you said it's the engine coin, and you mentioned these other coins that are used to basically mine.
Yep. So there's two different mining coins. Technically, there's four, but right now there's two groups of them. One is the Palnet miners. So it's PALM and PALMM. It stands for PAL miner and PAL mega miner. And so if you own a PAL miner and you stake them, then all you have to do is wait time, and you'll get like new PAL showing up, or PAL coin showing up to be claimed. So it's like mining. There's a rewards pool, or there's so much that can be mined on any given day, and you'll have a chance at actually mining that token every single day if you own it and stake it. But you don't have to do anything, and it doesn't cost any electricity. You simply just have to own it.
And so these mining tokens, how do you go about staking them? Is there an interface, or like how do you access them?
Steam Engine has a wallet. You would go to the let's see. So the very first thing, you need some Steem, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge, Bitcoin Cash, or EOS to go interact with our exchange. We don't have every single crypto that's out there yet. If you have other tokens, then you would get to our exchange and then trade them for Steam P. So all of the tokens, this is a DEX. So when you go to a DEX, what we issue you we issue what we call a pegged token. So imagine, I think of this stuff like if you have one ball and you have two pockets. You could have like a baseball in the left pocket or a baseball in the right pocket, but you still just have the one baseball. So how this all works is you would say, all right, I have Steam or I have Bitcoin or something, but I'd like to trade it on the exchange. Because the exchange has no control over your actual Bitcoin. Like if you try to trade that Bitcoin directly, it's actually pretty scary because there's nothing that forces that contract to go through. So what we do is we say, okay, if you want to go trade your Bitcoin, you can do that. You give it to us and we will give you one-to-one something called a Bitcoin pegged asset. And so it's always at one-to-one. So if you have a BTCP, you own one Bitcoin. It's just, this one is locked on the exchange. And so when you're trading, we can guarantee that the trade will happen. And so you deposit it on the exchange. We give you sort of like this phantom token that you can sort of trade around for a while. And then whenever you're done, you give it back and you say, all right, give me my Bitcoin back. And we give the Bitcoin back. But all of that is to make sure that we can guarantee that the trade you say will happen will happen.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of using BitShares in a way, right?
Yeah, it's very open ledgery. It's very BitShares like because those are DEXs, and DEXs all basically operate the same way. I guess I shouldn't quite say that, but in principle they have to. You have to get this thing on the DEX so it can trade, and so you use pegged assets. So you would take your asset from somewhere else, you would bring it to Steam Engine as a pegged asset, and then you would use the market to go purchase like the PAL miner or the PAL mega miner. And then there's the engine miner and the engine EM4, which is a more powerful version, which is nothing more than code. I mean, these things are literally just digital tokens, but they're miners, and we can set like how efficiently they mine. So unfortunately the EM4, the like ENG miner, is already sold out. We sold $100,000 worth of digital miners in like 2 days. It was kind of amazing to watch. The other one that currently exists is the PAL miner and the PAL mega miner. Those things are not sold out, and people are still purchasing them.
So the ENG miners are sold out, you said?
Well, there's two. So when I set it up, I said, okay, we're going to do a limited run of a more powerful and more efficient, but also more expensive miner. And we'll have basically an unlimited run of the less efficient miner. So the more efficient miners cost 3 times as much, but they can mine 4 times faster. So you basically get a 33% discount if you're buying one of these more powerful ones. Mm-hmm. And because I set up the pool for both of them, I set the same approach for both of them. So there's an EM4 and an EM, and then there's a PAL M and a PAL Mega M, or the PAL Mega Miner. And the more powerful ones, they cost more, but they're more efficient. The ENG more efficient one is sold out, but there's still the engine miner if people would like to pick that up. The PAL ones are available. And I bought something like 28 of these things, and like every night I go to bed and I wake up in the morning and it's like, oh look, I have new PAL that's sitting here. So I mean, to me, it's pretty sweet that.
And although these mining tokens, some of them have been sold out, you could still trade them on this marketplace.
Oh yeah,
correct?
I mean, we're not. Yeah, just because somebody bought it doesn't mean that it's gone forever. You know, it's sitting in somebody's wallet. The challenge is that a lot of the people that bought them just turned around and staked them. So there's not a ton of them, but yeah, I've seen some of them. Like we sold them at 300 Steam, and I'm seeing them sell for more than 300. So people turned around and flipped some. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't tell you what the market is going to do at all times with what they have, but that's part of the fun of being on a DEX, that people can make whatever decisions they want, and we're not here to interrupt that.
Awesome. Let's talk about Palnet specifically, because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around all these developments, and Palnet seems like a Steemit clone. Let's talk about why it even exists and why would people want to use it, and let's talk about Palnet in general.
Yeah, so let's start with the problem. Steam is this amazing piece of technology, and people give it a lot of shit, but it's amazing. This thing, it's fast, it's easy to use, it's user friendly. There's lots of tooling that exists for it, and I think a lot of people think of it as like the redheaded stepchild of blockchains, but this thing is actually pretty badass. And but one of the major problems with crypto in general, and Steam is no exception, is that the distribution just sucks. So on Steam, there's a handful of dev accounts, and those devs own the vast majority of Steam. And when we have a proof of brain distribution, so that you're upvoting posts and it's all based off your Steam power, it means that like under 100 accounts out of more than 1 million accounts have the vast power that's here, and it's pretty broken. And then when you throw in linear rewards, and now people can use things like bid bots, which are promotional tools, but it concentrates the wealth even further. It's made blogging less cool and less fun, because like the ability to earn is almost non-existent on the platform. You can only really earn by purchasing votes, but that doesn't feel like we're spreading the currency to new hands to try to get them in. We're really just concentrating more of the wealth onto the people that already own it.
Right.
And that to me is not cool. And it's not like what Steam was meant to be. So all of that, it was really frustrating. So Steam had put out a white paper for SMTs, and it would really allow different groups to create their own tokens. And then they got like months, if not years behind schedule. And Harpagon said, okay, here's our smart contract platform. And so we could make these tokens. And we tagged along with another developer by the name of Holger80, who's an extremely talented Python dev. And we created a parallel system that would allow for proof of brain distribution, but using one of the Scott tokens, using our own like custom token. Now you don't have to just rely on the distribution of Steam. You can go create your own ecosystem with your own people in it, with your own distribution, with your own rules for how distribution works. And you can really make like a completely custom tool. So now we have proof of brain distribution through that. And then there was a guy that had created his own interface to the Steam blockchain, or I guess he just cloned what's called Condenser. If you go to steemit.com, the website that's there is called Condenser. Mm-hmm. Or what powers it is called Condenser. But Condenser is open source. So he had forked it, and instead of running at steemit.com, he was running at cryptoempire.com. I don't know where the name came from. It was random. But once I realized that he was able to do that, I was like, okay, this guy knows his shit. Let's go work with him. And he was able in relatively short time to take all of that. So we have our tokens, and the tokens on Steam Engine we call Scott. The distribution system we call Scott Bot. And then he was able to go take Condenser, which runs steemit.com, but instead of showing the rewards in Steam, he could use ScottBot to show the rewards in a custom Scott. And I know like that's a lot of jargon, and I'm sorry for all that. But what it ultimately means is that when you go to palnet.io, which is our website for blogging, and you look at a post reward, you no longer see it as Steam. You see it as how much PAL you're earning or how much PAL coin you're earning. Right. And that's what we wanted to do, because we have passionate moderators. We have this active community of 20,000 people. Like all these folks were minnows on the Steam blockchain. But by creating our own parallel system, we're actually able to go help these people like spread a distribution and get people earning tokens again that they sort of feel like they couldn't before. And because it's still built on the Steam blockchain, like they still earn Steam. You're just getting an additional currency from this, but now it's all part of like your home ecosystem, which I'm now calling a tribe. So what what I'm really trying to do, and I'm pretty super close here, is I want the groups that want to make their own community to have a website, and it's this website that I'm calling their tribe. And the first button on the website will be a blog. The second button on the website will be a forum. The third button on the website will be a live stream, and the fourth button on the website will be kind of videos that have been recorded. And that to me forms the base of your tribe. You know, there'll probably be some links to Discord or Telegram or WeChat or Reddit or whatever else you want, but it's those kind of four key groups that I think really make up the basis of a tribe. And now you gather your people. Maybe you're all gamers, maybe you're all environmentalists, maybe you're all knitters. It doesn't really matter. You just gather your digital tribe, and you guys can distribute your rewards how you want. You can go build your community the way that you want. You can have the rewards pool function differently for each one of those groups. And that to me is like the next generation of this. It's not just DTube where I post a video, but now it's within my own community. I'm able to go post videos to my own audience, and like, rather than having some random whale I've never met determine whether or not it's trending, now it's my very own community deciding whether or not they value my content.
Yeah, absolutely. That gets me thinking of maybe doing a champ coin and having these cryptomaniacs in a niche community via those Scott tokens.
Well, I absolutely think that any YouTuber with a sizable audience should be doing this. I mean, I'm a little bit early for me to like push this out the door to them, but like you know, the value of this is that you've already collected a community. So so if you can get your 14,000 subs to all kind of tune in through this, you can be rewarding them with the content and whatever it is that you're interested in. Presumably they're interested in too. So you guys already have some common interest among you. You know, you could be distributing your own custom token, and maybe you're using it to go allow people to purchase advertisement on your space. That's usually the number one thing that we do on the internet is sell ads. Mm-hmm. So that if people have products, they would have to go buy your product. But the money, you know, you would be distributing it to the users. The users would be selling it to the advertisers, and you would be collecting it back from the advertisers. And that kind of creates your loop, which gives the token value, which then incentivizes all your listeners to stick around and pay attention and chime in, because they're ultimately getting payment, not directly, but through the advertiser putting money into the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. I could see the value in that. What I would like to also see is somehow something similar to a super chat, like on YouTube. But, you know, in this case, that you could super chat someone and be notified live that you received one of these Scott tokens.
Yeah. You know, development is going to happen. How quickly I can make different features appear, I don't know. Like, Steam Engine is not like, I'm forming a corporation for this thing, and it will be like a US registered business, but it's still going to be this like weird crypto libertarian, freedom-minded federation of devs. Like, it's not going to be me saying, all right, you work here 9 to 5, do this. It's still going to be like, all right, you like this project, you can work on that. Here's how we can plug in. This is how we can work together. It'll be like teams of voluntarists figuring out how to build a sort of unique platform for sharing content based off of common rewards, rather than here is my 9 to 5 corporate gig. So it's harder for me to predict development paces. Thus far, it's been absurdly fast because everybody feels incentivized. They feel ownership of their part of the project. And I think if you talk to the people that pay attention, we've gone from a tiny, sleepy little, like, hey, we just announced this thing, to, you know, here's hundreds of thousands of dollars on the exchange. Like, we've had $100,000 days on the exchange. And this thing is like 2 months old. So, so I would say, so that escalated quickly, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I saw that you had to update a new server or whatnot, right?
Yeah, so you know, we have the wonderful problem of we have so many users that it overwhelmed the server. So Holger, who runs Scottbot, which is the distribution system, he got another server up It was running in parallel, and then we switched it over, and now it's working, and it seems to be going a lot faster. But I'm sure that at some point we are going to break this system too, because like we had 15 Palnet isn't even like at its first post payout, and we already have something like 16,000 posts on there. So it's been less than 7 days, and at the very least, the tag has been used 16,000 times.
Well, I just used it.
Yeah, it's absurd to me, but it's like why not do it? I mean, you can use Steam It, you can still see it on Steam It. You could go to Steam Peak and it's still all there. But by using Palnet, at the very least, using the tag for Palnet, you have the chance to kind of double dip in rewards.
Okay, so that clears up Palnet. So I'm seeing other things like Splinter Talk and others. These are basically Scott tokens as well, right?
Yeah. So we one of my projects was to go build Steam Monsters, and then Steam Monsters rebranded as we started integrating Tron deeper and deeper. We said, look, we don't just want to be specific to Steam. The cards still live on Steam, the transactions still do, but we want to invite other communities to participate through token rewards and tournaments and trading their cards back and forth. So we allowed like a really deep integration of Tron. And as we were doing that, we said, we need to move away from the name Steam Monsters. We should go become Splinterlands. And as we got further along, it's like we really want the ability to go get our community talking about this thing. And so one of the ways to do that is to go build a token system. So we built a thing called Splinter Talk. And Splinter Talk, it's starting with a blog and it's starting with a forum, and people can go sort of post just like they can on Palnet or Steemit. But now this thing is really meant to go focus just on what's happening for Splinterlands. So if there's things in the games, if you're getting reward cards, if you're using potions, if you beat some of the best players and you want to go talk about it, this is really, rather than just putting that on Steam where nobody, like 90% of the people don't care. Now you put it on Splinter Talk, and, all the people that are talking about Splinterlands, they can find each other there.
And that has its own token as well, right?
Yeah, it's the Splinter Talk token, the SPT. Right. And to me, that's like, this is the basis. I'm using this as a bit of a showcase for what I think this thing can do. Because literally every single game, every single business, every single whatever, like they should all have their own tribe, right? They should have a website where like my go-to is League of Legends. League of Legends already has like a super successful forum, but they should also have a blog, and they should have a live stream, and they should have recorded video. And they do, and they live in all these different places, Twitch TV and YouTube, and you can go find them on I do think they have a blog somewhere in their forum, but they're all separate, and none of them directly reward their users. So my thought here is how do I reinvent the way that businesses can interact with their users? And to me, it's about, let's form a tribe, let's give them all common resources for interacting. And then from there, post your videos, tell your stories, make your comments, troll the forum, do all of those things. But now you're getting paid too, and I think that'll make a difference in the next round of Internet 3.0 blockchain enabled. We're going to be at the forefront of that.
Yeah, I can see how these niche communities can not only earn revenue from advertising by selling these tokens, but also maybe even offering gift certificates or things of the sort.
Yeah, so that gets us back to the sync. So what Steam Monsters, like we run the risk of getting overly complicated, but this thing is a thing of beauty. So we also created this thing called dark energy crystals, and it's a reward pool so that any time that you're fighting, if you're winning matches, you get rewarded in dark energy crystals. So that's the faucet. We have a reward pool. There's a set amount that goes out every single day. Players fight over it, and based off of their ranking, they earn dark energy crystals. Earning them isn't enough. You have to go have a sync for them. So we invented some specialty cards that you can only get by turning in your dark energy crystals. And now this whole thing has a market. You know, people are buying and selling. We put out like roughly 1 million per day, and the players players exchange them at like 1/10 of a penny. So you get 1,000 deck, and it's worth 30 cents, I think is what that meant. No, if you get 1,000 deck, it's 10 cents. So I mean, but you know, we're giving hundreds of deck every time that you have a match, or for the higher ranked players, they're earning hundreds, if not close to 1,000 every single time that they fight. So, but that whole thing is meant to be an example of, here's a distribution system, and the sink is that you buy cards. You know, for any of these other communities, you know, at some point the owner will do better if they figure out a way to accept the token back for value. So, you know, for us, it's pretty easy because we print digital tokens. If you are like selling printers, it might not be as easy to go give somebody a printer. But you got to figure out a way to go allow this thing to have value. And more often than not, the thing that makes it have value is advertisement. And that's actually kind of built into what we've done. So on Steam, if you hit promote post, or steemit.com, you hit promote post, it'll just put your post into a promoted tab. And that to me is really ineffective advertising, because I don't ever go to a promoted tab. Why would I go to the tab that's just about people advertising their posts?
Yeah, I never clicked there.
Yeah, nobody clicks there. But what we did is we rewired it so that now it interweaves people that have promoted their posts into the feed of everybody there. So like when you go check trending, on the trending tab, you're going to see people that have paid to promote their post. And now that is actually effective advertising. And we're already seeing people put hundreds of PAL in to be able to do that. And in this case, what we do is we burn that PAL. So we have a faucet where people can earn by blogging. And now there's some sinks where if people want to go advertise, they can go burn PAL and they can get their post promoted and seen by more people.
Interesting. And is that the only way that the PAL tokens were distributed via faucet, or was there a claim drop or something like that?
Yeah. So we have a bunch of different ways that we do it. So one of them is proof of brain distribution. We gave some to the moderators of the Palnet Discord group. We have a sale where there's a giant sell wall up at, there's 12.6 million Palcoin for sale, and they're all priced at 1 Steem each. And then what's the last bit? And then the last bit was a claim drop. So we looked at who was an active Steemian in the last couple months. So for the last 60 days, were you active? We checked that against a blacklist, and then we said you have to have a minimum threshold of 10 SP. We capped some of the highest SP holders amounts, and then from there we did a distribution. And so Palcoin went out to something like we did maybe 4.2 million Palcoin out of initial total supply of 21 million. We gave that out to about 16,000 accounts. But
how could users find out if they were included in the claim drop?
If they just go to steem-engine.com, they'll see a button in their wallet page. It's a little bit hard to notice, but it's a purple logo. The logo is in Latin, but it says "Do no harm, take no shit," and it's that purple logo that describes what's going on.
So basically, Steem Engine has a wallet where you could see where you've received, perhaps maybe have received tokens, or where you'll see the tokens that you buy through the marketplace.
That's correct.
All right, and it's a decentralized exchange, as I understand it.
Yep. So there's no private database that we control. This thing is controlled by the Steem blockchain and what people put on it. So we have a front end that is not terribly decentralized. Like, this is owned by Aggroed. This is like, we make decisions on what can be seen on our front end or not. But you can make whatever token you want. You can make whatever tool you want. You can trade however you want. We don't sit in the middle of any of those transactions. We just, if you have a scam coin, we don't want to sell it on our website. But basically, other than that, people are free to do what they want because we're not in control of the DEX. The DEX is.
Okay, and I guess the last question is this Nitrous. I'm trying to figure out what this is. Is this a tool that allows you to create something like Palnet or Splinter Talk?
Yeah, exactly. So again, we call everything Scott. So Scott's just another word for token or coin, but it's
so Scott is your answer to SMTs. Is that safe to say?
Well, Scott. Well, hold on. So Scott just means token, and so like SMT. Like a token can have a couple different functions, right? Like a bare minimum function, you have like a BitShares token. BitShares token, or like an ERC20. They don't do a whole lot, but you don't really need them to do a whole lot because because that's not like a business. If I'm selling stocks, I don't need my stocks to inflate and send them out in all these weird distribution methods. Like a business doesn't need that. But if I'm doing this like community conversation thing, all right, that's a little bit different now. And that we can that we handle differently. So so Scott just means token. I've created a token, but it lives on the Steam Engine Exchange. Scott Bot is the thing that distributes them like Steam in a proof of brain distribution manner. And if you want your own website that looks like Steemit, but now has your branding and now has your specific Scott that shows as the rewards, that's what the program that does that is called Nitrous.
And that's where you would set the parameters to distribute your token, or is that done through Steam?
That's through Scott Bot. Okay. So the token is Scott, the distribution method and like how you calculate who gets what at what time, that's Scott Bot. And the website to see it all is called Nitrous.
Okay. I'm still wrapping my mind around it.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to get more complicated too, because we're going to add, like, we're working with DTube, and DTube is going to make it so that we create ScottTube. So if you're familiar with DTube, you record a video, you put it onto the Steam blockchain through DTube. It uploads into IPFS, but it's also part of a post so that I can go upvote that post and give people that create content rewards. All of that will happen, but now it's going to be paid in Scott. So if I do this through Palnet, I'll get paid in Palcoin. If I do this through Splinter Talk, I'll get paid in SBTs. There's a Korean one called Steam CoinPan. If I do it there, I'll get paid in SCTs. So we're going to make all these DTube clones too. So
I would assume Palnet will have PalTube.
Yeah, PalTube is going to. I think it'll happen. I need the moderators to agree and think that it's a good idea. But my intention would be to try to get PalTube as one of the very first places that this exists, because I think it's a fundamental part of your tribe. In order for you to go talk to your tribe, you need some ways to write things down, to live stream, to go show videos, and those kind of core components is what I think of as one tribe. And the PAL community is my personal tribe. That's the one that I founded. That's the one that I spent the last couple of years helping to grow and work with. So in my tribe, I definitely want to have. I definitely want to go have kind of ScottTube capabilities or PalTube capabilities, and I want people making videos and describing how all this shit works, because it's complicated.
Absolutely, a lot to wrap your mind around, but it definitely sounds promising, and I feel like there's so much more room to grow here with the Steam blockchain and these developments that are happening. I'm definitely feeling like powering up more Steam lately. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's good. Yeah, if you look, I don't do a lot of technical analysis, but if you look at the price movements, the 200-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and the 20-day moving average have finally all turned upwards. So we are now out of that. That to me is the signal that you are finally out of a bear market and back into a bull market. Like, this happened within this last week. So we are finally getting out of the bear sentiment and starting to get back into a bull sentiment. just based off of the long-term moving averages pointing back up again. So who knows if that'll stick, but it's certainly better to see those pointing up than pointing down.
Let's talk about Steam briefly before we wrap things up. What do you think is needed to onboard more users here on Steam? Because it seems like that's a hurdle, a barrier to entry to the Steam blockchain. I mean, some of my community that they try to sign up, and it's just not an easy thing. Is there going to be any solutions to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I announced for Steam Engine not more than like a day ago. There's a really wonderful, so back in Hard Fork 20, we made it so that you could claim new accounts. So if you have a lot of stake, you can claim an account. But the tokens aren't fungible. So I can't trade them to you, which makes it difficult. We've had one group that has made a really nice web interface for this, but there hasn't really been a good way to move tokens back and forth so that the group that made it, once they run it, they have like 10,000 tokens. When they run out of 10,000 free accounts, then what? Like that website's no longer good. You can't do anything with it because there's no more tokens. And then they're stuck there like claiming 20 a day or something. It's just not a good long-term solution. So we partnered with them for Steam Engine so that there's got to be like several 100,000 tokens that have been claimed. So we can create several 100,000 accounts already. But what we're going to do, the guys that own those are going to have to go agree to work in this system, and Steam Engine and this group called Steam.Ninja will work together. We'll create a token system that can work in this environment, and they will accept those tokens to create new accounts for you. And all of those accounts will now, you'll be able to go, like if I'm an app and I want to go onboard 1,000 users, I'll go on to steamengine.com, I'll purchase 1,000 of these tokens, and then I can trade them into the BidBot owners, and or not just the BidBot owners, but the people that own the discount account creation tokens, and I'll be able to go create that 1,000 accounts.
Okay, so I mean, you'd be able to do this directly with Steam Engine. So if someone wanted to just sign up to Steam Engine, they could do that via there as well.
Yeah,
conceivably.
I'll have a little widget, and the little widget should hopefully live in more than one website. But the widget will solve onboarding. I mean, you'll still have to pay. So in this case, you either pay with US dollars or you can pay with crypto. Both of those will be allowed. It will allow you to pay with the Scott. So there'll be a couple different ways that you'll be able to go create these tokens. But I don't know. That's the plan. We'll help the people that own the account tokens trade them, and we'll help the people that want to create accounts create a lot of them, which are typically the apps. The apps that are built have like a community. They want their community here. They don't know how to onboard 10,000 people. Now we can. Which is not now. I mean, another week or two, but
soon.
Yeah, soon.
All right. I think we covered most of the points that I wanted to cover. Go ahead.
That is one of the biggest problems on Steam is onboarding, because even after we did a whole hard fork about onboarding, the process still sucks. But we're pretty close to being able to make that a smooth like onboarding process for everybody. Especially if you're already in crypto, it'll be super simple. And if you, I don't know, but because Steam.Ninja accepts US dollars, that'll be pretty good too. I think people will be able to buy accounts en masse with US dollars. And
are you exploring any possibilities of maybe having the developers carry on the costs and having them pay for the accounts somehow through like the Scott tokens or?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Basically what we're going to do, we're going to issue Scott that represent their claimed free accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So the claimed free accounts are not fungible, but the tokens are. So now you can trade the tokens back and forth. And now here's this tool called Steam Ninja that can accept any of them. Between all of that is just a giant workaround for the fact that when Steam launched Hard Fork 20, they didn't make these tokens tradable. So we've had to go invent all this shit so that you can actually trade them again.
Right.
But in the next 2 weeks, we should be rolling that out, and it should make onboarding users really like stupid simple.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I think that's the major barrier to entry with Steam. I mean, for people that don't understand what's going on, um, they should be able to get on and start posting immediately.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, all of these are for instant accounts. So, and usually like if you're totally random, you won't know to like join up to Steam and you won't find it. But oftentimes if there's like an app that entices you to come, that app would know enough to go be able to like buy the token, get a code, give you the code to go put into this widget. And I think like a lot of that's invisible to the user. The user just is like, oh, I have a code and I put it in this widget. And now I have an account. Like that's their user experience. There's a lot that goes on behind that to make it work. But hopefully for the user, it's just, oh, here's a code. I put it in a widget.
Absolutely. Let me shout out the people here in the chat box. Main events here, Crypto Task Force, Johnson Cackery. If there's any questions, go ahead and put them now. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the live stream. Is there any points that you want to add?
I mean, you've given me plenty of free reign here to ramble as I see fit. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the ability to go talk through these things. I mean, I think if I have anything to say, it's that I think the perception is that Steam is the stupid little redheaded stepchild of the blockchain world. And I think most people have zero idea how much activity is actually happening there. And the more that these things start coming out, I think people are going to be blown away by just the technicalities of this chain, the size of the community that's already there, and the number of dApps and how functional they are. I think it's going to knock people's socks off.
You got it. Crypto Task Force is asking, sir, how many active users do you have on your tribe? Are you asking how many do you need, or?
I mean, I don't have a number for that. I know that they're in the past. I think it's only 2 or 3 days. In the past 2 to 3 days, we've had 16,000 posts. So I don't know how many authors that represents, but that's a lot. So yeah, thousands. I mean, I'm thinking it's in the thousands. I mean, I should have that data somewhere. I should be able to know how many people posted organically to Palnet. But I found out that it was 16,000 posts this morning.
It's more than you expected if you had to upgrade already, right?
When I went to bed one night and I'm like, oh my God, we already have 100 on our first night. Like it was like 3 hours and we already had 100 posts. And I'm like, all right, well, that's pretty good. And now I'm just left with the Will Ferrell. That escalated quickly. I mean, literally, we had 16,000 posts and it's been like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. Shit's growing like rapidly.
Absolutely. So I guess we'll end it with what would you say the call to action is? What would you want the listeners to do after hearing this live stream?
I mean, mostly I'd want you to pay attention to what Steam is doing. Steam has some amazing things that are happening. And some people confuse Steam and Steemit. Steemit.com is a website. Steemit is a company that made that website and originally programmed the blockchain. But Steam is so much bigger than just one like blogging app. Like it's a big blogging app, but there's a lot more happening there. So, go to splinterlands.io and go play a card game. Go to steam-engine.com and go trade these tokens. Go to d.tube and go post your videos. I mean, there's like last count there was like 400 of these apps on here. Which nobody knows about. So that's what we got to do. We just got to get the word out. But, I think users here anybody that's listening to this has a really unique opportunity to go like do the hipster thing and get into Steam before they knew it was cool.
And what was the website? Nitrous?
Yeah, if you want your own, part of a tribe is the ability to blog. The custom blog we call Nitrous, but that's available through steamengine.com. Like, I guess I should say these things aren't all that expensive either. I mean, I don't know what people think of as expensive, but if you want your own custom community, it'll cost you, underneath $1,000. Like this isn't like, you have to mortgage your house or something. Right. This is let's get a reasonably priced thing out there and help these communities do this. So I don't know. Hopefully more people will come join us, and folks that have YouTube channels, folks that have games, apps, anywhere where you have a pool of people with common interests, that like to talk to one another, let's go incentivize it. That's what we can do.
You got it. Let me see if there's any other questions here. Steam It is not Steam, says Main Event. Absolutely. Task Force says this is a lot. David Couch with a heart. And Snowmaid says, do you think Kevin Durant's career is done? I don't think that applies here. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the box. Go ahead and check out Aggroed's Steam page. Where would you like people to check out your page via what port of entry is what I call them? Where would you like them to check you out?
They can go to steamit.com, steampeak.com, or palnet.io. Like, it depends on what they care about, right? Like that. What do you think of as your community? Is it all of Steemit? Then go there. If it's the Peace, Abundance, and Liberty Network, then check us out through Palnet. If you're a gamer and you love Splinterlands, then go to splintertalk.io. The whole point of this is that, you know, one size fits all doesn't really fit anybody. So let's go make all these communities way more specific so that you can find the exact stuff that you care about and the people that you grow to love.
You got it. I'd like to thank you for your time, and hopefully we can have you back in maybe a few months and give the people an update on what has happened, and hopefully this continues to grow. We can see Steam gain a little more weight. I feel like it kind of hit a bottom there, and it definitely seems like there's more happening on Steam now than before.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, building through the bear is a good sign. Like we definitely have some low price point to go climb out of, but all of that is sentiment related. It is not fundamentals related. This blockchain is powerful. It is filled with people. It's got very clever apps on it. People just don't know about it yet. And as people know about it, I'm very bullish on Steam.
You got it. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Thank you, Aggroed, for this talk. And again, hopefully we can have you back on sometime.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much, Champagne Crypto, and thanks for having me on.
You got it. Have a good one.